Hey everybody, this is Brett, and I was just chuckling over the face that I made for the thumbnail for tonight. And that face is a reflection of what I'm thinking about today and the state of the union. And I was just thinking to myself about how they made such a big fuss over the 10, 20, whatever $billion that they were going to use to Trump wanted to use to build the wall down on the southern border. Now let's think about that in money terms. 10 billion, 20 billion. It seems like a lot, right? But right now, Biden is just about to propose, like, what is it? A couple of $1 trillion to bail out people's poor health. Okay? The poor health that they're still not talking about. They're still not talking about it. Hardly a peep. Nobody's mentioned anything about getting rid of processed or fast food in any way, shape, or form yet. No Democrat, no Republican. Is only a few of us health people are talking about it at all. But yeah, but think about that money, like trillions of dollars. They're going to add to the deficit. Like the country is already in debt to the tune of, what is it, nearly $30 trillion. And now they're going to add a couple more trillion to it. And they're still not talking about the real reason why we have to go through all of this. And it's because people's health is so bad, their real health. They don't understand what real health care is. They don't understand that they need to eat whole foods, and that is an unbreakable law of nature and health and God. That they are all, most of those people break that law, and it was never taught to them that they can't break that law by anyone, Republican, Democrat, teacher. None of them told them that that's an unbreakable law. And so now that people are 40%, roughly, they say, are obese in this country. Now that's not just overweight, that's obese. 40% of the population are obese. It's hard to get a grasp on that, okay? And because they're so obese, just from a weight standpoint, I can tell you that they're going to have some serious knee problems. I did massage professionally for 10 years. I've been a massage therapist for a long time. You have no idea the knee, ankle, and hip problems, and feet problems, foot problems that people are going to have just from being overweight, just the sheer weight. I'm not talking about the bacteria problems. I'm not talking about the like virus problems or the circulatory problems. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about the weight issue on their joints. And so, is anybody talking about this? Is Joe Biden talking about it? Did Trump talk about it? Or is anybody on the news talking about it? None of these people are talking about it. But guess what? It's going to cost this country trillions of dollars now in bailout, like help. This is a health bailout that they're just about to propose. And, I mean, it's fine that they're going to send me some money and I'll put it in the bank and save it for my land, But this is what I'm thinking tonight. This is what I'm thinking about, And additionally, I'll tell you that I'm very happy that Donald Trump is out of there. Like, seriously. And somebody on one post a little while ago wrote down all of these country financial benefits from having Trump as the president, And I'll tell you that my channel is all about putting us first. Okay, so when you are going to help yourself to get healthy, what you do is you put yourself first. You start doing all the things that you need to do to spend more time on you. And so you're thinking and acting and doing for your own health. And so when they said, we're going to put America first, that was largely the agenda of Donald Trump. And a lot of people appreciated that. But you can't be an a-hole about it. Okay? You can be, that's what life is all about. Life is yin and yang. And so you take care of yourself and you take care of other people. And when you build up enough energy and enough financial abilities and enough good health, etc., then you start to give it away to other people. You have the ability, but you can't give away anything that you don't have. And so you work on yourself for a while. So America perhaps needed to start thinking about taking care of itself. But the problem is that when you start to take care of yourself, what things are you taking care of? Materialism? Is that going to help people to not be obese and unhealthy and full of prescription drugs? People need to start getting better priorities, okay? So it's not that the United States is lacking financially. When I ask somebody, when I try to figure out what a person's better qualities, what their strengths are, when I do a holistic consultation, I ask them about their mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health, and I figure out which one is the weakest. That's the thing that they need to work on the most. Okay, so if you ask the United States, if you ask people in the United States and around the world, how healthy is the United States financially? They'll tell you that we're really, really strong financially. And so is that the thing that we need to work on the most? This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you ask people around the world and in the United States, how healthy are Americans? What will they tell you? That's why we need to work on that aspect of America the most. Duh! And so, if people have water that's all full of chlorine and fluoride, is that kind of an important issue? If people have air that's full of auto exhaust and other chemicals, is that an important issue? I could go on and on about that. If people are all depressed, might that be somewhat important? That we figure out why people are depressed and maybe help them to not be so depressed instead of just filling them full of Prozac or Zoloft or whatever it is, like they wanted to do with me. Like, do I seem insane to you? I'll tell you what my problem was at the time. I needed to learn how to do enemas. If your bowel is toxic, if your large intestine and your digestive system is full of mucoid plaque, guess what? You're going to start to lose it in your head. You know why? Because all of that in there, if you were to cut it open and look at it, if it's all toxic, that's going to affect your brain. If you don't believe that, you're stupid. You're really freaking stupid. And people don't get it. People don't know all these things because they were never taught them or because they're just refusing. They're just refusing to accept them. And so, hello, Michael. So anyways, hi everybody. And yeah, I was just enjoying watching Bruce Springsteen playing a song for the inauguration, yada yada. And I was thinking to myself, there's Bruce standing up there all by himself. There's just a couple of cameramen watching him. And I'll tell you, it's fine and dandy to be considerate of people and wear a mask and blah, 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 and social distancing and all that. But this world, the germs aren't going away. and so when another illness comes along, another virus or bird flu or something like that comes along, and they start telling people that, well, we're going to have to lock you down again, people are going to start to resist that even more. The more it happens, if it happens in another year or 5 years or 10 years, people are going to remember, and they're going to be like, oh no, here we go again. The governments are going to tell us to lock down again. Do we have to start wearing masks again? And people are going to start to think to themselves, you know, there just might be a better answer. You never know. There might be something else that people might could do to prevent this from happening again. Preventative medicine. And personally, I can tell you that I am excited that the hospitals are seeing all this death. I think they need to see that they need to change their agendas in a big way. They need to start thinking about teaching people the truth about good health. Eventually, they need to start admitting that what they're offering is not health care. When you go to a hospital, when you go to a doctor, ask yourself, is this really health care? Is all the drugs, is that really health care? Do people have an ability to build a strong body and mind to be able to ward off disease without prescription drugs? Is it possible? Did creation put all of these plants here for a reason? There are so many questions that people really need to ask themselves. And think about right now. Okay, so here's a heavy question for you. Here's a heavy freaking question for you. Over the next several months, millions and millions and millions of people are going to inject a vaccine, several doses of it, into their bodies. Probably at least half the population is going to do that. And those people believe that that is more beneficial than detrimental for their long-term health, because they think that they believe what they've been told in regards to, if you catch COVID, if you catch this illness, that it's going to damage your brain, it's going to damage your body, this and that. But they think, and so they think that the vaccine is actually beneficial for them. And they haven't considered the possibility of changing their diets, most of them. They're not doing any of that. But I think that a lot of people are. And, you know, Darwin's theory about how the strong survive and the weak die, this is a perfect example of that. It's absolutely perfect. Because the ones that are taking on the hard challenges of actually changing their diets and lifestyles, those are the strong ones. In my opinion, friends, those are the strong ones. And the ones that are just copying out for the vaccine, in my opinion, my humble opinion of having been into health and healing for almost 30 years, those are the weak ones. And so I can tell you for sure, I can tell you that I think that those people, who knows? See, we don't know. We have absolutely no idea what potential problems, the health problems, those people might have in the future. But I won't be one of them. I can tell you that. And I know that there is a large percentage of people that aren't buying into it, because if you look at the total death possibility of COVID, it's far less than 1%. And so are the people getting the vaccine because they're afraid to catch COVID, because they think that they might get sick? And exactly why are they afraid? Is it because they've been watching the news and believing the stories? If the news projected and portrayed all of the real numbers of the people, and the majority of the people that caught the COVID virus that didn't hardly even have any symptoms, if the news projected the truth of the majority of the people, of what happened to the majority of the people that caught it, would they be as afraid? See, this is one of the things that the Trump administration, and you know I'm not a Trump follower, but all of this skepticism is actually really good, because if we all just believe the media, the over exaggerating media, then we'd all be idiots. We'd all be full and complete idiots. I like to, I've been watching it lately again. Okay. I'll tell you that for sure, that who could not watch it during this whole fiasco ever since the 6th, all of this yada yada that's gone down, and all these extremists on the right that are now being arrested, a lot of them, which is all great. But you have to look at the truth of everything. You have to look at the truth on all sides and examine and make decisions for yourself. What are the good things that looking at, that draining the swamp? Is it possible that politicians need to be drained out of the swamp? Absolutely. Everyone needs to be kept in check, including the media and politicians. They all need to be kept in check. And if they don't, they'll abuse their power and authority. And so we don't want to just believe everything that everyone tells us. Otherwise, we'd all be getting the vaccine. and then in a month or a year or 5 years, when illness overtakes us, is that partially going to be because our immune systems, our body's defenses were weakened because we didn't step it up? We just decided to rely on a vaccine. Hey, Susan. It's not, see, I don't look at it really like some people think, oh, it's a new president and it's a new day. If you go back to the first of this video, I explained that it's not really a new day. It's not really that much different, although it's great that Donald Trump and his unethical behaviors are going away to a degree. But still, we have to look at the truth. And the truth of the matter is that people are all still obese and sick and full of drugs in this country. And they're still not really openly admitting it, at least not in the mainstream. What we are seeing is small numbers of people that are stepping up to the plate and changing the way they do business, just here and there, because they're people they're open to seeing the truth about Wonder Bread and about drinking alcohol and all the different things that people do that aren't good for them. And it's hard for those of us like you have to really protect yourself, okay? You have to really like keep an eye out for people because they'll drag you down. And let's read some more. I got COVID without knowing it. I stayed home taking care of myself and I recovered in 2 weeks. Good. Happy inauguration, Brett. Stay long, but I know people like us are happy today. No vaccines, please. Susan has a lot to say. Michael Jackson says Weird Al Yankovic, fat song. Yeah. Well, it's not just, it's not just fat. I mean, I've got fat. Look, I've got fat. This year, let's shift gears. This year, this wasn't even really a planned. I was thinking about today whether I should do a live tonight. And I haven't written anything down, but off the top of my head, I can tell you just for sure that I ate some eggs the other day, but other than that, I haven't had any animal foods like in the last week. Hardly anything. I haven't eaten any fish. That's all I pretty much eat. I ate some beef, some burger, like 3 weeks ago, some buffalo, like 3 weeks ago. I seldom eat any red meat. Like last year, it was about once a month I would. This year, it's probably going to be more like, who knows if I'll even eat any at all. And it's just that I'm listening to my body, okay? I'm just listening to me. And that's the most important thing, you got to know. And it depends on how well you absorb nutrients, how well you're cleaned out, well your mind is used to not eating animal foods, and it takes time. When a person, over the years, I've known various vegetarians, and they were vegetarian for a long time, consuming still eggs and dairy, etc. Eventually, they usually got rid of the dairy and also, in time, eggs, and then they became vegan. I foresee this possibility with me in time, but I've come to realize that I have to do it just like that. I have to pace myself. And I hesitate to talk about the animal thing because I know a lot of people have animals. They have dogs and they have cats. That's a really hard subject. And y'all know, anybody that watches me knows that I have a lot of thoughts in regards to feeding our animals. And I have a lot of decent knowledge from having done that all with Chakra and other animals that I had. And it's a hard subject, and I'll think about whether I want to talk about that or not. I've been thinking about it for a long time. But anyways, so it was good to see. Okay, I'll tell you what I think about Joe Biden. My first initial thoughts years and years ago about Joe Biden was that he is really cool for having taken the Amtrak to work as a senator every single day for like 30 years or something. I thought, wow, that is so cool. I can't believe that a senator would actually do that, would just ride with average, regular people every single day. I learned today that he's taken roughly 8,000 trips on the Amtrak train from wherever he lives, I can't remember, to Washington, D.C. and back every day. And then when he won the Democratic primaries, I did not vote for Joe Biden. I voted for Amy Klobuchar. I liked Amy and I liked Pete Buttigieg. But the Democrats decided that after it was all over, that Joe Biden would have a lot better chance against Donald Trump. And that's totally true, People were not going to vote for a gay person. People, Buttigieg, a lot of people, they would have lost. The Dems would have lost a lot of votes, surely, even though Pete is sharp and Joe is dull. There's no way. I mean, it would have been. He still possibly could have won, but Joe Biden thoroughly won. And even though some people don't believe, he won. And Amy, who knows? I just like Amy Klobuchar. She's a very nice person. I don't really like, what's her name from California, the vice president. I remember her name right now. But I just think that she's kind of a bitch. I mean, I guess she's okay. Maybe she'll grow on me. Kamala Harris. Maybe Kamala Harris will grow on me. But when Joe was in the Democratic primaries, he was flubbing up a lot. And he's just kind of, I think he's never been the sharpest blade, the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I think he's been practicing a lot, though. And when Donald Trump was constantly interrupting him, that was just like really hard for him to think and express what he was trying to say. And they took care of that. That was good. And I think that Joe is thinking a lot better now. Some people will make up things about Joe Biden, other things that I think it's all bull, And perhaps his son is not the most ethical person, whatever his name, what's his name? Hunter. Perhaps Hunter is not the most ethical person. I've heard a lot I've watched a few things on Fox News about him where they're saying that he's used the Biden name to make a lot of money and this and that. But I don't believe that really reflects anything on Joe Biden too much. I think Joe Biden is a long-term public servant, and he seems like a decent guy, and he's very moderate and wants to reach across the aisle. He's a lot more moderate than Barack Obama. And I think that, all in all, from what I'm seeing, he's like Amy Klobuchar, moderate, and Pete's fairly moderate too. It's all good. And that's what we need to do. We need to come to the center, people. But it's not just coming to the center. This country needs to get disciplined. They need to get real. Everybody needs to get real and start thinking about what really matters. What really matters. And they're not, like I said in the beginning of this video, they're not thinking about health, the most important thing for this country. The thing that people are the weakest in. The weakest thing. So that's all I really want to say tonight. And Susan had lentils, and Blue Ice is enjoying this avocado, homemade with bones and turkey soup. So, Blue Ice, you should know that meat can be okay, but if I were you, I would avoid any mass-produced animals. And that is the sorest subject in regards to our animals. It's not like, it's even more sore of a subject with our animals than us. Because the animals, our domesticated animals, don't have a choice. They eat what we give them. And they may be picky about foods, but eventually they'll eat whatever we give them because they'll get hungry. And what most people give their animals is mass-produced chicken. If you look at the ingredients list, even if you buy the food like what I fed Chakra for years, organic dog food, that is mass-produced Cornish cross-breed chicken. And turkeys, even organic turkeys, are so overbred that they can't even have sex and reproduce themselves because their breasts are so big. And pork, After you live in the country and you see the kinds of animals that people raise at home, if they're raising their animals in a quality way where they're range-free and happy, farm animals, and not all of them do that. Some of the rednecks out where I live here, where I lived before, they weren't raising their pigs properly. They were raising them in a pen where they could hardly see the light of day, which isn't hardly any better than what mass-produced pigs are raised by. Not better at all. And so if you raise your animals right, then you might actually get attached to them. And if you get attached to them, it's going to push you in the direction of not wanting to kill them. The only logical manner, the only logical way is to gradually become vegan. First vegetarian and then vegan. And if you're eating some mass-produced turkey or chicken or pork from the store, even if it's organic, it's not healthy. What I recommend that you do is, if there's any way that you can find somebody like I have now that has homegrown organic eggs, and if there's any way that you can get range-free beef once in a while, or buffalo, if you can do that, that's better. And at least, okay, so if you're eating junk chicken or junk turkey like Tyson, the first thing you want to do is at least get rid of that and eat organic like Coleman chicken. But that you eventually have to get rid of too, because that is mass-produced and overly bred. It looks nothing like a normal chicken. Look back at my videos where I raised chickens last year, and you'll see that go online and look at what a normal chicken looks like, a Rhode Island Red or a Barred Rock, or like my little Corona, an Azure Brown. There are hundreds of breeds of chicken out there, but the only one you can buy at the store is the Cornish crossbreed. And it's got so much fat, it's not even funny. Even if it's range-free, it's not a normal chicken. It's a up chicken. Okay, you can't buy anything but up chicken at the store. And same with the turkeys and same with the pigs. They're all not normal. They're all not healthy. They're nutrient deficient because they haven't been eating any greens. None of that. And mentally, all those animals are not happy mentally. What's going to happen to your brain when you're consuming unhappy animals? What's going to happen? They'll figure it out eventually. They'll prove it biologically by looking at cells of an unhappy versus a happy animal. They'll eventually figure out exactly why it makes you depressed to consume those animals. And people wonder why they're depressed. And I'm just telling you the truth, Aqua Blue. If you're going to consume animals, find some happy ones. And the only way to do that is to go out to the country. You got to moved to a small town. This is like a perfect transitionary thing for people to do that want to get healthy. You want to get away from big cities. Big cities have 5G, they have smog, and they have crime and disease and more chlorine and fluoride and more EMF, all kinds of things. So move to a small town, and then when you live in a small town, you can reach out and find local farmers that, like up here where I live, you can find local farmers with healthy animals to eat. Okay? And you don't even have to kill them. But believe me, you want to move towards vegetarianism and then veganism, but get away from the dairy. You might have to get rid of that first, like I did. 20 years ago, I got rid of wheat and dairy. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a lot from my videos because I only tell the truth. Do I look like I'm here to manipulate people like a politician for my own financial gain? This is about 6 years old. It's organic though. This is actually an organic sweatshirt. And am I really concerned that it is falling apart? That's one of the benefits of COVID. I don't have to worry too much about what I look like, huh? So if you would like to support Brett's Natural Health and Vitality Massage on YouTube, you could go to Brett's Natural Health and you could get a millet hull undyed natural pillow for $45. And it is top quality, top quality. And it's all organic, 100%. And no matter what you are, Republican, Democrat, gay, Gothic, straight, whatever you are, wherever you are in the world, I can send it to India. I could send a millet hull pillow to India, Australia, UK, Romania, anywhere. And will it be worth paying twice as much for shipping if you order from somewhere like far away? Absolutely. A millet hull pillow, you know how much a millet hull pillow is worth? I'd sell them for $45 to $60. And if I send one to Australia, it'll cost probably $60 or more to ship it. Is that worth it? It's worth 10 times that. When you sleep on one of those, when you sleep on one of these, how much is that worth? If a person had $1,000, it'd be worth it. $1,000 compared to a foam or feathers or something like that. That pillow is worth $1,000, maybe $2,000. So thanks so much for joining me, and check out all the Fantic products at brettsnaturalhealth.com. Please give me a thumbs up on this video for all the amazing full-on truths.